Hello all and welcome to Crochet Designs. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are making this gorgeous what I call mirrored coaster. It is simply divine and you can see why I call it a mirrored coaster. The pattern looks mirrored, yeah, it really does. And the blue border around I believe highlights the whole look of the pattern. It gives it a massive colour burst. So there you go. Now, quick heads up, colour combination today in this tutorial has been chosen by the lovely Linda S during one of our lives at 10 a.m. Saturday mornings. That's Melbourne, Australia time. And Linda chose these gorgeous colours. Do they not look divine together? I love this square. I mean, the list is endless of all the things you can create with this square. Thank you, Linda, for your colour choice today. Today, what you will need between 4 and 5 grams of the orange, 5 and 6 grams of the blue, because you'll need a bit extra for your border rounds, and you will need your hook and your yarn. Now, the yarn I'm using today is called Cotona. Sheepy's Cotona. It's a beautiful, beautiful cotton, but it is a 4-ply or a light 2-weight. You will need a light 2-weight for this piece to work. If you go up to a DK weight or a 3-weight cotton, your coaster is going to be relatively big. All right, just keep that in mind, yeah? All right, so you will need this particular cotton Cotona or any 4-ply light 2-weight cotton that you have in stock. The Cotona calls for a 2.5 millimeter to 3.5, and we are using the 3.5 today. You will need your scissors, you will need 4 stitch markers, and you will need your sewing needle as well. You will have threads to weave in, quite a few threads to weave in. All right. Once again, a very special thank you to Linda S for a colour combination today. I'm not going to keep you anymore. I'm going to let you get started creating your gorgeous mirrored coaster. Good luck all. We're going to start off by making a magic loop. Pop the tail end of your yarn in front of your 2 fingers. Grab your working end, wrap it around your 2 fingers, forming an X. And I've just grabbed the loop at the back there. So forming a little X, yeah? Your 3.5 millimeter hook, pop it under the front loop, grab the back loop, pull it up and through, and you've got 1, 1 and 2 there. You need to hold everything in one hand just for a moment and pass it over, and then you chain 1. And a chain is yarn over your hook, pull a loop through once, chain a second one and a third one. Now yarn over your hook. You're going to pop a double crochet US treble UK in that space. So pop your hook in the space, pull a loop through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops left, yarn over, pull through the last 2. And we're just going to give that tail a little bit of a tug to make that center a little bit smaller. It's just too wide now, yeah? So just that little bit smaller, not much, because you're going to fit clusters in there. Clusters are 3 double crochets per set. And before you do anything, you grab a stitch marker, and I'll probably change this later because I reckon this one's not going to fit, but we'll see. And pop it in the top 2 loops. That's the stitch we just made. Pop it in the top 2 loops of the chain 3, the top chain of the chain 3. And I reckon I'll change that. So you're going to do another double crochet US treble UK, yarn over your hook in the center, pull a loop through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops left, yarn over, pull through the last 2, and now you're going to chain 2, 1 and 2. And do 3 double crochets, exactly the same, okay? So you do 1, 2, and 3. Like so. My yarn is getting caught here. So what you've done now is 1 set, 2 sets. You need to do 3 and 4. They're going to be done with the orange, yeah? But before we do, we're going to chain 1. Hold everything there. Grab your orange. And grab your orange, pop a loop over the hook, like so, yeah? just pulling it through your blue like so. Now this is a little fiddly for now, but what I want you to do is grab the tail end of your orange. Let's bring it all out so you can see what I'm doing. The tail end of your orange, the working end of your blue in the back of your hands like so. Just ignore that little tail for now. And you've got simply that. All right. So what you want to do here, you've pulled the orange through, yarn over your hook and make a chain. Just give it a gentle tug with all the threads there. Yeah. And then you're going back to making double crochets. So yarn over your hook, in the space, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2. And you do 2 more. 1 and 2. We're still crocheting in the center over that tail, yeah? So you're chaining 1 and 2 for this corner, and you're doing 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. All right, for here, this section here, we're going to chain 2 and join to the blue. But before we do, our center can now be closed because we've got 3, 3, 3, 3 all together. So that tail you've got right there, just give it a tug and it closes like magic. That's why they call it the magic loop. Pop the tail at the back, yeah? Chain 1 and 2 of your orange, slip stitch into the stitch with your stitch marker, pull a loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook. That's your first round. Remove that stitch marker. Now ordinarily we would chain 1. We're not going to do that. We're going to turn our work. You can either turn this way and work like that into the next space, or you can turn this way and work like that into the next space. It's whatever suits you. It doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong. I'm just going to turn it the way I usually do, okay? And when we go into that corner space, pop our hook in, pull a loop through, and pull it through to the loop on your hook. And what you've done there is a slip stitch. Yeah, tighten it up a little. Chain 1, 2, and 3. Pop your stitch marker in there. Don't move your piece or it'll flip around. Yeah, keeping it nice and steady. You don't want it turning around. Yeah. And then you put 2 double crochets in that same space that you're in. So 1 and 2. And that is half a corner complete. The other half will come at the end of the round. Yeah. Jump into your very next corner. So you're jumping over these 3 double crochets into the corner with a corner cluster set of 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 1 and 2, and 3 double crochets. That's called a corner cluster set when you read my patterns. Once they're all up on the website, you will be seeing things like that, corner cluster set. And that's a corner of your granny square, yeah? Part of your granny square, if you will. All right, so we're now going to jump into the corner with our threads here, yeah? So what you want to do, leave your tails, making sure you just give them a bit of a tug. It closes up that area, yeah? So you're jumping into the corner and you're doing 3 double crochets of your orange. 1, 2, and 3. And you'll find that whilst you've been doing that, this has opened up. That is normal, all right? Give it a tug, yeah? And now what we're going to do is very similar to what we did before. We're going to chain 1 only, and the second one we're going to chain is with the blue. So drop the orange, hold it at the back of your hands there, your fingers, yeah? Grab your blue and pull it through that loop there, yeah? Chain 1. You might want to give the orange a gentle tug, yeah, not too much, yeah? And instead of popping your yarn over your hook, this is a part where it can be a little tricky, but instead of going yarn over your hook and then going straight into that space, you're going to pop your hook under that loop first. pull a loop through like that, and you've got 2 loops on your hook. You're going to pop your hook in the space, pull a loop through, and now you've got your 3 loops. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. You know what? I'm going to do it again because I don't want you to get that wrong, okay? So you've chained your 1. You're going to grab your blue, pull it through like so, chain 1. You can give the orange a little gentle tug, yeah? Then you pop your hook under the blue, pull a loop through, jump into the space, pull a loop through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops left, yarn over, pull through the last 2. All right, and then that's your first double crochet, yeah? You put 2 more in that space right there, 1 and 2. And you completed the corner. Now it's a little bit loose there because of the orange. When we come back around, we tighten the orange, yeah? And then you're going to go into the blue corner, very simple this part, and do your corner cluster set of 3 double crochets, chain 1 and 2, and 3 double crochets, all in the same corner. Oops, that didn't work. And you know what's happening? Look at this. Okay, when you are working this particular tutorial, your work will get tangled. So you need to detangle as you go along, or that's going to happen, yeah? All right, so what we've got here now is that. What we're going to do is yarn over our hook. We're going to pop our hook straight into, here we go, straight into your next corner where you've already got 3 double crochets of your orange. Well, the chain 3 acts as a double crochet, so you say 3, yeah? And there's your second one, and there's your third one. So 3 of the blue, chain 1 and 2. Now this corner is different. You don't have a thread that you're going to pick up, yeah? You're going to pop your hook in that stitch with your stitch marker and slip stitch like normal. Remove your stitch marker. Turn your work. Again, you can turn any way you like, and then you're going to slip stitch into the space again. Pop your hook in the space, pull a loop through and through to the loop on your hook. Chain 1, 2 and 3, and then, oops, no, let's pop our stitch marker in. Let's try the white just for fun, yeah? Pop our stitch marker in there like so. And 2 double crochets in that same space. So 1 and 2. All right, so there you go. Now, normally we would jump straight into the corner with a corner cluster set, but we now have side spaces to fill in as well. So you're jumping over the first 3 double crochets, you're going into your first side space with 3 double crochets only. Remember, double crochets US, treble UK. Like so. 3 in the corner, 3 in the side space, corner cluster set. So let's go ahead and do our corner cluster set of 3 double crochets, chain 1 and 2, and 3 double crochets. And 3. So what we're going to do now is go across here and we're going to jump into first side space. Remember, there's 1 side space on each side, so we're going to do a cluster set of 3 double crochets only, like so. And in your corner, you're doing your normal corner cluster set, but this time it's with a change of colour. So you do your first, notice how I tugged it a little bit, yeah? Do your first 3 double crochets. It's going to come loose again. You're going to close it up again. So 1, 2, and 3. Can you feel it coming loose? Look at that, it's coming loose. Okay, so the idea is to make sure you tighten it in every round, or that's going to be like that and you don't want it. So tug it real tight. Yeah. Your next step, chain 1. Yeah. Drop your blue. Grab your orange and pull that thread through like so. Chain 1. Yeah. Remember what we did in the last round? We popped our hook under that loop, pulled a loop through. There's 2 loops there. Into the space, pulled a loop through, and there's 3 loops there. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops left. Yarn over, pull through the last 2, and if you want, you can tighten that up. You're going to tighten it up in the next round anyways. All right, so that's your first double crochet, your second, and your third, all in the same corner. And then you have a side space. Yeah, pop your hook in that side space and do 3 double crochets only. And then you have your normal corner. Oh, that's simple. Let's just do a corner in there. Oh, look how fast I'm going doing my corner. I just want to get it done so that I can show you what to do next. 1 and 2. So 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets, all in the same corner. All right, so now what you want to do is jump over these 3. Remember, we have a side space. We need to put 3 double crochets only in that side space. 1, 2, and 3. And then we have this section here where we don't need to carry any yarn. All we need to do is 3 double crochets in the corner. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1 and 2, and slip stitch into the stitch with your stitch marker. Pull your loop through and through, remove your stitch marker, turn your work. All right, so what we're going to do is slip stitch into the space, chain 1, 2, and 3, 2 double crochets. Oops, forgot to put the stitch marker in the 3rd chain. Pop your stitch marker in that 3rd chain, guys. Pop it in or you won't find it at the end of the round. It will be tricky to find, especially in this round, yeah? And what you're going to do in this round is you've got 2 side spaces now. So you need to put cluster 1, cluster 2, and then your corner set. All right? I'm not going to show you that. You know why, guys? Because you can do this on your own. But before you do, now, quick heads up, my tail ended up on the wrong side. That should be on this side, by the way. I would suggest real quickly weaving in these 2 tails. Now, the reason is once they're out of your hair, they're out of your hair. This is the wrong side of your work, so later we're going to pop that tail back through there. So grab the blue. You're going to weave that one in first. Really important that you weave this. Oh, it's split. Oh, there we go. It's all right. Really important that you weave this in really well. The blue really needs to be tight because that is where you did your magic loop. Okay, you don't want it coming undone. So give it a good tug, and all you need to do is split a thread there and just go through the stitches of the blue only. Check the front, make sure you can't see that needle in there. Gorgeous. And just pull it through like that. Now, I didn't go through all the stitches, did I? No, one more. Let's go through one more. When you're on this side, you turn your work, you go back in the direction that you came from, but you split a little bit of thread. So you're not going to unravel what you just did, yeah? And pull it through like so. Guess what? I'm a stickler at weaving in ends, so we're going to do it one more time. So once again, splitting a little bit of thread, going in that direction. It's really thick now. Check the front, gorgeous. Oops, don't do that. And just pull it through. That is not coming undone, guys. Absolutely not. All right. So there, gorgeous. And real quickly, we're going to grab that yellow, which, try orange, Mary. I always do this with yellow and orange online. I always call orange yellow and yellow orange. I don't know why I do it. And I don't do it with any other colour. Thread your orange, not your yellow. And see where you are now. All you're going to do is pop your needle through the space for starters. You should be on the other side, yeah? And turn that around. We don't want to tangle things up. And you want to do the same for the orange. You want the orange to be weaved in around this section here. So grab some thread and start weaving in here, right there. In actual fact, it can't go around. It can only go through that section there. You could, if you wanted to, pass your thread through there. I think that would pull if you did it that way. My suggestion would just be to stick to weaving in and out of this small section here. And it won't come undone once you've done it 3 times. Unless, of course, you need it to come undone, then you're going to have to do a lot of picking with the sewing needle. So check that you can't see the yarn or the hook. I'm sorry, let's try needle from the front. Oh, that's not going to come undone. That's your 3 times. All right, grab your scissors, cut your piece, not your piece, your thread, don't cut your piece, and turn it over. You no longer have any more ends except the ends you're working with. Oops. These ends. And do yourself a favour and detangle often because this will tangle up. All right. So how gorgeous is that looking? Such a gorgeous mirrored effect. So we've done 1, 2, and 3 rounds. Your job is to continue this round and get to this section here. Do what we said before with pulling it nice and tightly. Do the corner, go to the next section here, slip stitch to join, turn, and you know the usual stuff. Now, if you're not sure how to do that, I will leave a little time up there and it'll show you this last round that we just did. But your rounds will be different now because you've got extra spaces. So in this round, you'll have 1, 2 spaces to fill in. The next round, you'll have 1, 2, 3 spaces to fill in. All right, so your job now is to do 2 more rounds exactly the same as you've done this final round, except adding that extra cluster in the side space because you've got more side spaces. Now, if you're a little confused at the side spaces to the corner spaces, pop your stitch markers in each corner. You will need these stitch markers later anyway. So in each corner of your work, if this confuses you, yeah, pop a stitch marker. Now, you don't need one in this one because you're working in that corner now. But once you join it there, you will always have that stitch marker there anyway. So there you go. That's pretty much it, guys. I want you to head off on your own. There's the time you can go back to repeat this 1 round. Do 2 more rounds. Meet me back here once you're done, and we will actually finalize our mirrored coaster. Also, don't slip stitch to join when you get to the end of your last round because we're going to do that together. All right, head off on your own now, do the last 2 rounds, and I'll meet you back here once you're done. Alrighty, guys, so I asked you to get to the last round here. I'll just remove that for a minute. And I said don't complete it, don't join it. Now, the reason is we're going to cast off the orange. We're going to leave the blue there, but we're going to cast off the orange. So what we're going to do firstly, I've done the last 3 double crochets in the corner, okay? So I'm just going to chain 1, and then I'm going to pull a loop through on that second chain. Pull up your loop a little bit. Give your thread a cut, like so. Gorgeous. And then just pull that loop through gently. Grab your sewing needle and thread it. Okay, now I may have to do this off air because I always mess it up. Oh no, here we go. That worked. Usually I have to do it, 5 times. All right, so we are here. Let's get a nice close-up. Don't pull this too tight, yeah? But what I want you to do is actually, in the stitch marker, stitch. Not in that second stitch because the orange will be noticed. You're going to pop your sewing needle in the stitch marker, stitch, like so. And just pull it through like that. Remove that stitch marker for a moment. And what you have is that. I mean, it's not attached, it's loose and everything. So what you want to do is turn over and pop your sewing needle. I've pulled it a bit too tight. through that very first chain that you created there. That's the first chain that you made. So you're pulling it through that way like so. All right. So right now your piece is pulled. Don't pull it too tight because you don't want that to be stuck on the blue later when you're doing your next round. We don't want that too noticed. All right. It will be a little noticed, but it won't be too noticed. So turn it back around again. No, don't do that. Just grab your sewing needle and put it through the very next stitch right there. If I can get it through, then we'll do it, yeah? Just through the stitch. Don't weave it in yet, because later when we want to go through that stitch, we start weaving it in, you're not going to be able to get into the stitch. So just for now, leave it like that. Yeah, we will weave that in properly in a minute. But what we want to do is go way over to this blue right here. All right, give yourself some blue because you're going to do a couple of rounds of this now. All right, so what you want to do, and this is so simple, pop your hook in the space where your blue thread is. Yeah, pull that blue thread through, chain one, tighten it a little bit, and you're going to do a single crochet US, a double crochet UK right in that space there. So pop your hook in, pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops, grab your stitch marker and pop it in there. In the same space, you're placing another single crochet, your second one. And you'll get a third one in there on the way back, all right? But in the meantime, just move your guys over. That very first orange that you see right there, pop your hook, oops, in that stitch, pull a loop through. Make sure you get into that first stitch, yeah? 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops, single crochet US, double crochet UK, and you are popping it in the very next stitch and the very next stitch and so on all the way across your orange side. Okay, this is the easiest part of this tutorial, guys. Really is the easiest part. Okay, so I find the single crochet round so quick to make, and we're going to do another round as well, but we're going to do this first round like so until we get to the corner, which we are almost there. That's your second last stitch, and that's your last stitch, and then you've got your corner, and your corner consists of 1, 2, grab your stitch marker here because we want to keep our corner for later or find our corner later. So pop your stitch marker in your second single crochet and then do a third one. That just shows you where the center is for the next round, so you can pop your next corner in that stitch. All right, so once again, move your guys over, make sure you don't miss this first stitch, single crochet into your first one and single into each stitch all the way across until you get to the blue corner. First one from that cluster, second one from that cluster. Now remember that thread we placed in that third stitch. If we were to have weaved that tail in, that would not be easy to get into. So we'll weave that in a minute. Yeah. In the meantime, you want to grab the tail and tug it real tight. Yeah. And you just want to do a single crochet 1, single crochet 2, grab your stitch marker, like so, and single crochet 3. Whoops, try that again. 3. All right, moving your guys over, you need to catch that first blue. And that's a little tricky because we sewed in that little thread into it, yeah? So we're going to try and get into that blue with a single crochet 1, and then you single crochet into your second double crochet, single into your third, and so on. All right, second last single crochet and the last. I've got a really tight stitch there. I don't know why, but it's tight. But there you go. All right, so there's our corner. In that corner, we're doing 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. Place your stitch marker in that second one. And 3 single crochets. All right, just move everything over. Find your first stitch. Pop your hook in, pull a loop through. Single one and single all the way across until you get to the very next corner where we first started from. One, 2, and 3 across. Those last 3 double crochets there. And then you do 1 single crochet only in the center because we've already got 2 from the beginning, all right? So single crochet, just your 1 right there. And you're going to slip stitch into the stitch with your stitch marker. Pull a loop through like so. Remove that stitch marker. That was your second stitch in that corner of 3 stitches. So you're going to chain 1 and pop 1 single crochet in there. Pop your stitch marker in. That's just to see it at the end of the round, yeah. So we can slip stitch into. Then pop a second single crochet in that center stitch and make sure you find your first single crochet and just single crochet all the way across until you get to your next corner. All right, I'm going to pop this on fast, and all you need to do is pop a single crochet in each stitch until you get to the corner, and off we go. Alrighty guys, I've got, whoops, I'm so far away. Okay, I've got 1 stitch before my stitch marker right there. And in that stitch marker, we are placing 1 single crochet. Remove the stitch marker for now. A second single crochet. And a third. We're not putting stitch markers in anymore because this is our final round. So now we make sure we find our first single crochet there, place 1 in there, and 1 in the tight one right there. Excuse me, Mary, she's got such tight crocheting. And a 1 in the next, and so on, all the way until you get to your very next corner. All right, so there you go. So that's what it's looking like so far. Just had to get some thread there, guys. Sorry about that. And what you're going to do here is I'm going to pop this on fast again. I want you to get to that stitch marker. And then we'll talk about what we're going to do next. And off we go. All right, and I've got 1 stitch before my stitch marker. Gorgeous. And right in that stitch marker stitch there, we're placing 1 single crochet. Oh, let's remove it first. 2 single crochets and 3, all in the same stitch because it's your corner. Move over, find your first stitch and single crochet all the way across until you get to the very next corner. All right. Oops, too close. Okay, so what you have now simply is that, yeah? What I want you to do is do that. Single crochet all the way across, do 3 in that stitch marker, remove the stitch marker, single crochet all the way across, get to your second last stitch right there. Meet me there once you're done and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, so here we are at the end of this side. And I asked you to get to your second last stitch. I think I've got my third last. Sorry about that. So there's 1, 2, and there's the second last stitch. It is there, it's hugging, but it's there. Don't miss it, yeah? So there. Now that little bit that you see here, that's your slip stitch, so don't do anything in that. So, oh, hang on, we've got to do another single crochet in that corner. We need to do one more single crochet in that corner, naughty Mary. So in that same stitch that your corner work is in, place one more single crochet, remove your stitch marker, slip stitch to join in the stitch with your stitch marker, pull up your loop and cut your work. Like so. All right. Whoops, just trying to bring that down. Sorry, guys. So there you go. That's your piece almost complete. I say almost complete because guess what, guys? You've got these guys right here. Now, remember, we weaved those ones in already, so that's okay. Remember this orange thread? That has not been attached completely. It's a bit split. It's kind of semi-attached. Remember I said don't tug it and don't weave it in. So you really need to weave this tail in, very important, or this corner could come undone, okay? So let's get a nice little close-up. Now remember it was through the final stitch there. So what you're going to do is grab this thread and just go under that blue right there. Just that very first blue thread you see there. Like so. And you can just check the front, make sure you can't see the needle. Gorgeous. And just pull it. Okay. That kind of, it didn't really knot it, but it's kind of locked it into place. And you're going to go under a couple of more blues all the way across. And this is the part, because it's very thin here, this is a part that you need to check the front and make sure you can't see that needle. All right. Because if you can see the needle, then your orange will come up along here, and you don't want that, yeah? So pull it through the 3 or 4 stitches or 5 stitches there, like I've done. Then turn it back around again, skip that first one, jump into the very next one, and do yet again exactly the same. Again, making sure you can't see the needle from the front. Gorgeous. Pull it through like so. And when you get to the corner, you're going to weave your orange inside that corner just once. Check the front, yeah, gorgeous. And just weave it through the corner. Just the one time, okay, because it's cotton and it can get a bit awkward. Cut as close as you can, not too close, you don't want to cut your work. If you give it a tug, it hides into that corner. Now, you will never see that again. All right, now you've got this last guy right here. Now, as you can see, my stitching is really tight, so I might end up blocking my piece eventually. Eventually. All right, so you've got that little corner piece. There are many ways you could have done this. You could have done it like you did the orange, but I'm a little bit pedantic about that. So all I'm going to do with this thread here is turn my work back. And I've done this before where I found a thread in the back of the stitch just before it. Right at the back of the stitch. It's actually the stitch that we just finished. The one before we slip stitched. And then just pull it down through that thread. And 99.9% of the time, it disappears. Okay? Sometimes it doesn't. There. How's that? Gorgeous. All right, so what you want to do here is simply this. Did you like that? 99.9% of the times. Is find some other thread to go into. Just keep pulling it back. Gorgeous. And then find another thread to go into. Actually, you should be checking the front. Not too worried with this because it's all the same colour, okay? But still, you don't want it to be noticed in the front. So you're going through all the little loops from the stitch at the back. When you get to a certain area where there's a whole lot of single crochets across, you can start weaving your guy through the back of the stitches of the single crochets. Checking the front. Gorgeous. being careful not to cut your work. Stretch it a little, and there you go. So you can notice it a little bit. It would have benefited for you to weave it in like we did the orange. If you like, oh, we're not even in frame, like we did the orange. And I think mine does need a blocking because I pulled real tightly when I crocheted my single crochets. But how gorgeous does it look? Yeah, it's simply divine. I just love the two color look about it. And the single crochet rounds on this one almost gives it like a 3D look as well. Even though it's a flat piece, it almost gives it a 3D look as well. So there you go. Once again, guys, a very special thank you to the lovely Linda S for her colour combination in today's tutorial. If you would like to be a part of Live Antics and choose the colour combination of our very next tutorial, please join us at 10 a.m. Saturday mornings, Melbourne, Australia time, where we have our weekly live. And during that live, I pop all these names in a hat. And if you are in the live that day, your name will go into a hat and all the yarn will be on the table, and I'll get you to choose a colour combination of the very next tutorial. It's a lot of fun. So there you go. All right. Thank you very much for joining us today. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Share the love, guys. Share the tutorials. Look how gorgeous this piece looks. Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Mary and this is Wow Crochet Designs. Ciao for now.